If I ask you how many people did Jesus raise from the dead, how would you answer that? We know of three. We know of three, don't we? Like the first one he raised from the dead was a little girl who was 12 years old. It is the daughter of Jairus. Jairus was a synagogue leader. He was a leader of a synagogue. He was not a rabbi, but he had a 12-year-old daughter. And what happened was she had just died. She was literally on her deathbed. She hadn't been taken out of her room. She was on her deathbed. And Christ goes in to the room, and he takes three apostles, Peter, James, and John. This is beautiful. And he takes her by the hand, the little dead girl. And he says to the little dead girl, "Little girl, I say to you, arise." And she sat up, started to walk around, and Jesus said, "Give her something to eat. Must make you hungry to die. Give her something to eat." So she's dead how long? Minutes. She's dead in just minutes, still on her deathbed. The next person that Jesus raises from the dead is the widow's son at Nain. The widow's son at Nain. Christ is walking, and there's a funeral procession coming out of this village, which is called Nain, N-A-I-N. And it's the only son of a widow, and the boy has died. And Orthodox Jews, to this very day, they do not embalm a body. The Orthodox Jews, they don't do it. They don't take the blood out of a body because they believe life is in the blood, so they don't do it. And if you ever watch some of the terrible terrorist attacks in the Middle East, they bury people, the Jews will bury people within 24 hours. They don't embalm the bodies. They don't embalm the bodies. And here you have this young Jewish man who was the only son of his widowed mother, and the funeral procession is coming out. You can picture this. I've often thought about this. There's a boy, and he's on a stretcher. They're headed to the grave. His mother is there. She's weeping. And Christ stops the funeral procession. And he talks to the dead man. And he says this, "Young man, I say to you, arise." And he comes up. How long was he dead? A few hours, less than 24. So the first girl is dead minutes. The next one, the widow's son at Nain, is dead a few hours. And the next one is the most well-known person that Christ rose from the dead, and that's Lazarus. Lazarus was his friend. And he died, and he was buried in a tomb, in an airtight tomb. And how long was he dead? 4 days. He's dead 4 days. So what you see here is you see Jesus demonstrating his power over death in an escalating way. First, he raises a little girl, dead minutes. Then he raises the young man, dead a few hours. Then he raises Lazarus, dead for 4 days. But this is my question to you. What would be the ultimate proof that he was divine? To raise his own dead body. So lots of times I say to people, how many people did Jesus raise from the dead? And they say 3. That's not right. The answer is 4. 4. Because all of us are just human. We have only one nature. We're just human. But Jesus was not that way. He was a divine person, the second person of the Trinity. He was a divine person. And he took to himself our human nature. So in Christ, you have 2 natures, human and divine, and they are united in the one person of Christ. The reason he had to become human is because he couldn't die in his divine nature. And so what you have at the resurrection, you have his divine nature summoning back to life his human nature. It's the ultimate proof that he's God, that he has power over death. The reason I go into telling you all that should make you less afraid to die. Christ was the victor over death, and that victory will be shared with you.